Hi and welcome back to the Rideshare Buddy YouTube channel. My name's Kevin. Just a fairly short one for this video. A couple of things. Uber has pretty much admitted to paying national minimum wage now to the drivers. We'll have a close look at that in a minute. And the second one is getting a little bit quieter. So I'm testing a new app, which is a taxi caller. I'm going to test that over the next couple of weeks, and I'll let you have a much more detailed feedback on that at a later date. But first, let's have a look at Uber, who have pretty much admitted that they're paying national minimum wage to drivers, and that their fares have come so low now that they're getting national minimum wage top-ups. Let's have a quick look at the details on that. Well, it's really about the protests at Glasgow yesterday about Uber drivers had the protest of the union about how their pay is going down and down and down while the passengers are getting paid top dollar. It's in a number of websites, news sites, the Herald, BBC. I'm going to look at the BBC story. I'll link to it below. But they were talking about two issues. One was unfair pay. The second one was trip radar. But they've all said that I'm doing less and less pay. So this is an example that I'm giving. For an airport job about 9 miles from the city of Glasgow, you're only getting paid £11 for 9 miles. But when you speak to the customer, I'm charging them about £25. And £25 for 9 miles is about the right. That should be the going rate for private hire. And then you'll pay your 10-20% commission off that. So that's about £5 commission on a £25 job. But Uber is taking way over 50%, and I'm only paying £11 for the job. And of course, you're not going to get a job back. There's no guarantees it. You're out of area. You can't get a job back. And you're basically screwed because Uber only pay active time. That is, from the time you accept a job to the time you drop off. You don't, anything coming back if you're out of area just doesn't get paid for, doesn't get accounted for, doesn't have any sort of support from Uber. Unlike normal private hire jobs, it's priced in your return journeys. So if you take somebody out to the airport job is priced at a level to allow you to come back and cover your costs of coming back, as it should do. You know, you're not going to get a job at the airport to come back, so you need to make sure you've got sufficient profit to do that trip. So what used to happen, just even maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago, when whenever journalists got in touch with Uber to say, you know, what's happening about drivers' pay, Uber would always say, well, the average driver earns about £30 an hour, or the average driver earns about, well, it went down a little bit, down to £25 an hour. But now, what do Uber say? Well, Uber responded to the BBC. An Uber spokesman said all drivers on Uber are guaranteed holiday pay, access to a pension plan, free sickness protection, and guaranteed living wage, though the vast majority earn more. So no more of this £25 an hour larky, no more of this £30 an hour larky. The Uber spokesman is saying, well, most drivers will be earning more than national minimum wage. Which tells me some drivers are getting the national minimum wage top-ups. And I think this is what's happening. The Uber algorithm AI is testing the waters. Some drivers, let's say 5% of drivers, are currently getting national minimum wage top-ups because the AI is testing to see what happens when fares drop that low. Will the drivers who are on the super low fares carry on driving for Uber? Will they leave for Uber? Or what Uber really wants is for them to stay out longer, to earn longer, to try and make up that gap. And if they stay and carry on and just moan about it, if they stay and earn and go out to more hours to try and make up that lost income, that's a win for Uber. That's a win for the AI. and they'll roll it out across the other 95% of drivers once they've completed their testing. The only way they'll stop doing it and stop lowering it and pushing the pay back up to where it should be is if drivers leave, and drivers won't leave. They'll work themselves into a ground. They'll work 12 hours, they'll work 14 hours just to get that money back, even though they're now receiving national minimum wage top up. That's the way the AI works. That's the task of the AI, is to bring down driver pay to a level where it's no more than national minimum wage. And Uber are happy to top up a little bit on national minimum wage because they're taking the bulk of the profit now from a job. And unless drivers say no and actually mean no and walk away, Uber don't care. It's just a computer algorithm there to generate maximum profit for Uber and minimum profit for a driver, despite the driver taking on the bulk of the risk of Uber's business model. When it's quiet, Uber doesn't have to pick up the bill of financing the car. When it's quiet, Uber doesn't have to pick up the bill of servicing the car. When it's quiet, Uber doesn't have to pick up the bill of the insurance. When it's quiet, Uber doesn't have to pick up the costs of getting cars licensed, plated, medicals and all the rest. So the driver is taking on the bulk of the risk, and the driver is taking on the bulk of the day-to-day expenses, while Uber keeps the bulk of the profit. It's up to you, drivers. You can stay, you can moan, but as long as you stay, Uber will do no different. They'll just keep depressing pay to drivers, and they'll just top up to national minimum wage so they can keep the bulk of the profit. That's the reality. And I reckon by November, December, many of the drivers, when they're taking on standard jobs, will be hitting that national minimum wage mark, and maybe even get a top up. Or the profit from the surges will subsidise the low pay of the standard rates. But that's it, that's for the Uber one. Uber has pretty much now admitted that they're paying national minimum wage top-ups to a number of drivers. Right, I've also trying out the app Taxi Caller. I signed up this morning, spent most of the morning just filling in all the details and the settings and stuff. I'll give it a run through, spend a couple of weeks trying to get to know it and see what happens, and then I'll get back in touch with you with a fuller review of it. Now, it's operators only, not a driver's thing. You get driver apps. This is a driver app. And you have a dispatch system that goes onto your computer. So if you're a small operator, it costs £15 a month per car on your system, and there's a few discounts if you've got a lot of cars. But I'm trying to use this as my own sort of app and see what happens. Yeah, it looks quite handy. The issue is that there's no banding of fares. So you put in your fare and that's it, no matter how many miles you do. So if it's a 10-mile job, it's the same fare or the same rate as a 100-mile job. So there's no banding. But there are fixed fares options. So I've been able to set in Newport as one zone, and I've set up zones for Bristol Airport, Heathrow Airport and Cardiff Airport, and then you can do fixed fares in between different zones. So that might work. We'll see what happens. But it's not. Although I've been able to book in my own OTS and my own work onto the app, so I'll get notifications through the app just to try it that way. I don't think I've yet gone live on the passenger app because I think they need to do some verifications first. So as soon as I go live on the passenger app, I'll give it a test, see what sort of work is coming in, and I'll let you know. But that's Taxi Caller, Swedish company. I've taken off all the other apps. The only apps I've now got is Taxi Caller, OTS, Bolt and Uber. if BP Pulse could set up some sort of scheme whereby any taxer can sign up and get the special 49p kilowatt hour rates and free subscription. Maybe you'd have to submit their badge or their plate number. If you could do that, I'd drop Uber off the phone completely, because it's really not worthwhile doing. But yeah, taxi caller, give that a try, and I'll let you know at a later stage when I've got some feedback as to whether it works or not. But that's it for today. I'm on a bit of a break down at the McDonald's, having a coffee. I've just taken some people out from Newport to Bristol Airport. I've got another hour to go, and I'm going to pick up in Cardiff to go to Bristol Airport. I've had nothing to come back today. There was a job going out, but it was a meet and greet at Bristol Airport to come back, and I did not want to mess around with Bristol Airport at the moment. I'll wait for terminal meet and greets. I'll wait until I finished all the building before I start doing those again. I don't mind standard pickups where they'll give me a call and I'll meet them at their meet and greet section in the drop-off car park. That's fairly straightforward. But sorting through finding a car parking space and then walking through the rain like today to get to the terminal, not for me, thanks. So I'll leave out meet and greets at Bristol. But yeah, be interested to see how that goes. But that's it, the main thing. The main story of the day is Uber no longer saying, our drivers earn on average 25 or £30 an hour. Now it's, most of them meet minimum wage. Yeah. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Take care in this terrible weather. But until next time, thanks for watching. Next week, I am doing that time over the week for how long I spend charging up, and I might do one a little bit later, only a short one, because there's a new charging station opened up at Cross Hands. I've got I think it's tomorrow. I can't remember if it's tomorrow, Thursday or Friday. I've got a job out to Carmarthen, so on the way back I'll stop off at Cross Hands and have a look at the new Eon 300 kilowatt charging station they've got there, because Cross Hands is becoming quite a hub for different chargers, and there's a fair bit of competition and prices are dropping. The Eon is 63p a kilowatt hour, and that's without a subscription. That's on your tap and go credit card rates. So the big guys, the Eons and the big energy companies, are sniffing the market. There's now so many EVs out on the market, the big guys are moving in, and those early adopters like Instavolt, GridServe, who are charging 79, 89, 99p a kilowatt hour, they're going to be hitting trouble fairly soon. But I'll talk about that when I go down and visit the new Eon station at Cross Hands.